Hello, welcome to Ignite Your Inner Spark, where we have inspiring conversations and share practical tips so that you can deepen your self awareness and live a more intuitive, fulfilling life. And hi, I'm Dyanne Kelley, your host. Creator, author of Soulfire Woman and creator of the Soulfire Woman's Way mentoring program for women and a psychotherapist for over 25 years. And I'm so excited today because I get to welcome Janice, and let me get Janice on here right now because I'm about to say your last name, Noehulani.
Yeah.
Noehulani. I probably should have asked you that.
Oh, perfect. You were way closer than most.
Okay. So Janice is a natural born psychic, a shamanic, love and life coach, spiritual mentor, teacher, and author herself. You will know as we go along, she's known for her infectious laugh and a motorcycle riding spiritual gangster who wants us all to be able to tap into our intuitive wisdom and own our gifts and live, I like these words here, wildly unapologetic, prosperous lives as light workers. And hello, Brenda. Welcome. So welcome, Janice. I'm so excited. I wanted to start with your story because it's so compelling. And if you could share as much of it as you feel comfortable sharing. But, you have me hooked right away on the natural born psychic. So how did you know? I mean, does this ability, gift run in your family?
Yeah, actually, it's true. My father was incredibly clairvoyant. He actually knew I was pregnant before I even knew I was pregnant. He called me the moment I conceived, and he was like, or not the moment. I mean, right after, like within 24 hours, and he was like, "Are you pregnant?" And I was like,
"Daddy."
Oh my God. Anyway, but when I was young, what happened to me is that I would see spirits coming off of people, and I would see spirits around people, and I would see energies on walls that people weren't seeing. So it took me a long time to figure out what in the world that was. It was pretty crazy making.
It would be scary, I think, as a little child, right?
It was incredibly scary. And also, somehow, though, I knew when I kept pointing to them and going, "Do you see that?" People were like, "No, I don't understand what you're talking about." Somehow I knew I needed to just be quiet about it.
Oh.
And so I honestly was terrified most of my young years because there was no one who was guiding me around this. No one told me. And then as time went on, I realized that I was very empathic. I didn't know this truly until I was 18, but it made sense because I grew up in a lot of trauma, and just people were just not safe. So my empathy kept me safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can relate to that totally.
Yeah. So, as time went on from 18 on, I kept trying to deny it all. But something inside me just kept going, you have to figure out what this is about. You have to know how to make this useful for yourself, if only for my own personal healing. And I don't know, like crazy things in my life would happen where masters from all over the world kept just coming into my life and sharing their wisdom with me and weaving me back into wholeness. And then and somehow I had the ability to keep saying yes to that.
Intuitively, you knew
Exactly
that it was the path you needed to take. I wanted to just touch upon again where you said as a child from trauma, you really kind of developed these survival skills. And I mean, I can relate to that, is being able to observe people so closely to keep yourself safe, right? That hypervigilance, really.
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then it becomes heightened intuition. You're just right on it. Yeah.
Right, and the one thing that I've noticed actually with our time is that people are using empathy against themselves right now. It's freezing
Oh,
people. It's making people stay frozen because we're feeling so much right now, right? And so a lot of the work that I do with empaths is help them realize that it's their gift and
yes.
how to use it for in their favor rather than making it something that's, because they're sensitive, they can't go out anymore, they can't be around people, they can't, they don't trust anyone. It's like how to make that more of a loving gift
Mhm.
rather than this way of creating cement, making people frozen right now.
Mhm.
And I think this is a big thing because most empaths have that ability because of exactly what you were pointing out to. It's a safety measure.
And what would you say about, just ordinary people? Do we all have the ability to be intuitive? Can we learn that? Is it I think women are born with the gift
Yeah,
myself. I'm a little biased there, but
yeah,
I do feel that we come into this world having intuitive abilities that we don't have to work so hard for. We just have to be able to acknowledge and
yeah.
know how to read it, right?
Yeah, exactly. We do all have the intuitive ability. It is recognizing it. So within our pituitary gland, right? This is the major place where when we stimulate the pituitary gland, we begin to see. And so there's ways to activate our intuitive gifts, but we're moving so fast as a culture and we bombard ourselves with perfectionism and to-do lists and all of this stuff that it's hard to hear what it is
Mhm.
that we are actually being guided to do. And many people misplace emotions with intuition, and so it begins to
Ah,
scare them
that's
actually,
interesting.
and so they deny that part of them because most of us are afraid to feel, and yet our emotions are one of our biggest guides to intuition. And so when we begin to create safety within our own system and realize that emotions are just it's just information, again, just a
Yes.
guide. Yeah.
I say that all the time. Yeah,
Yeah, nice. Of course you do.
yeah,
That's actually what I've loved about you always. When I first met you, you created safety almost immediately. You have
oh,
this ability.
Janice.
Well, it's true,
Mm,
and I felt that in your presence. And so which is actually quite beautiful because then it allows people to begin to listen to that wisdom as a wisdom, to remember that that information is coming in, those emotions are coming in just as a guide, and then you get to decide what you're going to do with it.
mhm.
You get to hold it as your story, or you can transform it into power, right? And
Mm, okay,
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt.
Please.
I was just saying, as you go through this process and you're transforming your story or you're deciding what to do with it, and then how does that help you, better hear your intuition and understand it better
Yeah.
okay.
So what I want to say is that people often have a misunderstanding around intuition. It doesn't always come as hearing or sight. And that's where people get kind of mixed with like, oh, I'm not seeing anything. I'm a seer. I get I have images flash. I have almost movies come across my mind's eye. But not everyone is. So I like to give this story. It's really
Okay.
important because Abraham Hicks, her first way of many people know this story, but I'm going to tell it because it's very profound. Spirit came through her, her intuition, her spiritual, the spirit she connects with came to her through her nose. And she would write letters with her nose. And she had to slow down enough to go, what in the heck is going on? And then it would write one letter, then it would write a word, then it would write sentence. And then she started to transform it into actual, like communication. So think about that for a minute. You have to slow down so intensely to pick up on my nose.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And who would have thought? My guidance is coming through my nose. Who would have thought that? So when people get into this mind's eye around, oh, if I don't see something, that means I'm not intuitive. If I don't hear something, that means I'm not intuitive. If I don't feel something, it means I'm not intuitive. And it's all so not true. It's about uncovering how intuition comes through you. So right now I'm dating this man, and all of his intuition comes through his dreams. I've never seen anyone who dreams like him, right? All of his magic comes through his dreams. And I've never experienced anyone, man or woman, who does this. And he'll even pull me into his dream state. It's like,
wow,
really magical, right? So everyone has to uncover what their unique into how their intuition whispers to them.
Just by way of example for whoever's listening, I'm not much of a visual person, but I feel it. I can feel it in my body. And I get downloads in meditation, just like complete steps to do. Boom, boom, boom. The trick is when you're coming out of meditation to be able to remember everything. But I do, even if I forget it when I come out, if I give myself time and I'm still, it comes back to me. But is there a way that you can suggest so people can learn how they perceive intuition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are many ways to activate intuition, and actually I'm feeling like that's for another time.
Okay.
But what you can do on your own is the thing about intuition and even psychic abilities, because they're slightly different, right? Intuition is that internal guidance system, and psychic abilities, you have an ability to sort of manipulate energy from anywhere, and that's just slightly different. But both, all you have to do is begin to pay attention, because when you have to create trust within your system. And this is for everything, by the way. This is for you to have great sex.
Oh, by the way.
This is for you to be able to excel in your business and in your life in any way, is that you have to create a trust within yourself and safety within yourself. So in order to do that, to increase your intuition, is you follow the nuggets, even a small one, and then a bigger information will expand. And over again, as you begin to trust in your own, like, oh, I don't, maybe that's intuition. Oh, I'm getting this hit, and you follow it. You begin to trust yourself, which allows for your sight or your senses to expand a little bit more, and it'll start to snowball and begin to expand even more. That's a very simple way of.
Right.
Now meditation is really good, because that also calms the mind and begins to align your chakras and your pituitary. Now, when your pituitary begins to light up, it often produces headaches. So that's another reason why people don't keep going in that direction. But it's useful because our world, our environment is so toxic that sometimes we have to shake off that darkness. We had to shake off that toxicity in order to begin to see in a bigger way.
I think what you said about trust is so important because I think it's a big issue for women. And I know women that I work with is we tend to doubt ourselves or have self-doubt or not trust what we're sensing. And then the societal norm of how we're supposed to go about figuring things out, we overlay that and then talk ourselves right out of the intuitive hits. So the email I sent out today about the program is I knew I shouldn't have done that. Like, how many times have you said that after the fact? You
Yeah.
had the intuition, but you talked yourself out of it, or you ignored it, or you didn't know how to read it. And so I don't know if you can say any more about that trusting, or maybe just like you're saying, practicing knowing when you were right, recording it or acknowledging it or something.
Well, it's interesting that what I want to say about that has to do more with the failure piece. And I
Ah,
want to, or the piece that was the edge. And I want to remind everyone that that time is so useful, because guess what? You learned a lesson and you don't have to repeat it. You go, that's also having failures and not listening to your intuition is sometimes more valuable than always listening to your intuition. And so, letting ourselves, you know, um, sit in like the beauty of our soul's journey. you know,
mhm.
it's like I have recently also not listened to my intuition, and it kicked me in my butt. And from it, boy, did I learn about my power.
Mm,
And so I guess what I want to say, and the reason why I want to lean into this, is that maybe because I start getting downloads, and I start sensing things, and maybe this will speak to some people, maybe not, but find find the lesson and then forgive yourself and move on as fast
mhm,
as you can, because right now the energy is not about um it's not about making your failures your prison. It's really about, you know, making the mistakes and then coming back to trusting yourself, coming
mm,
back to knowing that even that was important, coming back to forgiveness work, which is so freaking important right now.
absolutely.
And knowing that you can in this moment recenter and build trust again right now. And I'm sorry, I have to say it, but I want you all to know that this is for you, but this extends to everyone right now. We are all a mess.
Okay, I can own that.
I don't care who it is. We're all feeling the struggle. And so some people like to put on a better face, and more power to you. Amen, whatever, right? But I just want you to know that we're all struggling and we're in this together. So extend that grace to everyone around you, because it'll extend it, but it'll come back to you, you know? You
Mhm.
have to give it to you and everyone else right now.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And so, for those who might be skeptical, who might say, "But I have to do it with my left brain and logical and go by these steps because this other way is too woo-woo," or whatever, however they categorize it.
Yeah.
Why would you say following our intuition is so important, or using it, or being in tune with it, or
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because I actually work with a lot of people who push back a lot, because I am I I'm the work I do is very grounded, when I'm working with people, but it's also can be very out there. And so I ride the wave of both of those, and they push back sometimes until they see the miracles. And then they're like, I don't know why, but I just have to trust this. And so
Mhm.
when you let your intuition, oh, okay, I want to say this differently. You're not just an intuitive being, right? You're also a mind. You have a mind, you have a body, you have your emotions. And where the out of balance energy comes from is when you only lean on one. And most people do. So many people will just go to counseling for 20, 30 years, right? And that's what their thing is. But then they're ignoring their spirit, or they're ignoring their mind. And then there's people who are like the mindset people. If I just get my mindset right, everything will happen. And that's very masculine. So they're one ignoring their feminine a whole bunch, and
Mhm.
and they're pushing through life in a very difficult way, sometimes ignoring their emotions. For certainly the mindset people often don't honor their emotions. They want to will them into place. And then but they
Uh, I think you're frozen. I can no longer hear you. Let me see what our viewers are seeing.
often have spiritual
Oh,
component to it.
you're
And
back.
then you have all the wooey people out there.
Oh, you on my screen, you're freezing and starting again. So hopefully you'll be back. All right, let me just take a quick moment and text, see if I can reach her that way. Because we're just getting some good tips here. Okay, so she's going to jump off and jump right back on. For those of you watching live, um, are there any questions? Okay, here we go. You're back.
I don't know what happened. Ah,
Well, you jumped
wow.
in and jumped out, and I was hopeful you were going to jump back in again, but yeah.
All right. What I was saying is, and then you have the wooey people who are like, you're like, just sister, just get grounded, get in your body, right? Because it doesn't have to be so out there. What we really need to do is just weave in all aspects of ourselves. And so intuition is a part of it. And it is our eternal wisdom. If you believe in energy, then you might believe, like I do, that you've been here for so long. You've been here for possibly lifetimes. And your intuition and your soul and spirit carry that wisdom to help you do what you're meant to do here on the planet.
Mm.
And
I love that message of balance. Like there's no one right way. It's bringing them all together and using them to the best of your gifts, your
yeah,
ability. And
absolutely.
were you about to say something about your soul I mean, were you going in that direct, like your soul purpose, or did I just make that up?
No, it's true. Like your intuition, along with your ego and will and your soul and spirit, your mind, thoughts, emotions, all of these pieces are are important parts of you that will guide you to your soul purpose, your soul mission, and fulfillment, really. And it's
Mm.
not always like this big to do. It's not always that you have to be this famous leader making $1 million. It's not that. Sometimes for a lot of people, it's just to be peaceful and happy, and right now to be a presence of peace and harmony. We need that more than ever in this world.
More and more women are saying that too. They want to feel that inner peace. They want to be peace, present as peace, and feel the harmony. I just want to pause for a minute and ask who is ever watching if they have any questions for you, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Any questions come in. And while we're waiting for that, is there anything that you would like in the way of an exercise you would like to share with us today, or
Yeah,
anything? Or I mean, you don't have to, but
I would love that, actually. There's a really, simple, let me just see if it's quick enough. Yeah, maybe it'll be quick enough. There is one thing I wanna say really quickly, Dyanne, and then
okay.
we'll go into the exercise. I know I believe that you serve women, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and I love that you're bringing it in, and I wanna just put a little pin in more and more men are saying the same thing.
Oh, fantastic.
And we absolutely need our men to rise to this. We need them to be sensitive, but we need them to be our warriors. And we also and we're warriors, but it supports the feminine for a masculine man to be in touch with this conversation that all of these women are saying. And I really, it's part of my mission in the world to heal the wound of the masculine and feminine. And so I say this to give space for those women out there who need to start seeing that there are powerful men who really have our backs, and they are right in line with this conversation too. So,
Yes, and just to be clear, Janice works with men and women, not just women, even though my audience is mostly women.
yeah,
But
totally.
also, um, I talk about too balancing the divine feminine and the sacred masculine, that we all have both inside.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
just I love I think a lot of powerful men don't get enough, like, they're just as terrified as we are, and they want change just as much as we are. And I think it's just nice to speak to it too, because, like, I love the men.
I know you do. We
Um,
do have We do have a question, and it's a question about the programs that you offer. So do you wanna talk about that, or do you wanna do the exercise first and then talk about that? Because I know you do have a big program coming up starting next week.
Yeah, I do actually. There's many ways to work with me privately, but right now I'm putting all my attention to my soul medicine certification program. That starts November 8th, and it teaches people everything that I've learned to heal myself. But I have many students who are doing the same.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we lost her again. Well, she does have a soul medicine certification program starting, next week, I think November 8th or 9th. I believe it is a year-long program, although she is going to maybe divide it up. Um, Let me see if I can reach her again, because I know she'll wanna talk about this. If you all can just have a little bit of patience with the connection for some reason. And I will post the link um, in the Facebook, on my Facebook page, where you can reach her. Actually, let's see if I have it here. Oh, here she is again. Hold on.
Oh,
There you are.
hi. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on. It says I have a full internet connection, but here we are. This is
Yes.
energy.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I'll give you the link to just post that. And basically, if anyone wants to know more details of the way to work with me, you can go to the page and click on a link and just have a conversation with me. I love to everyone who ends up having a conversation with me ends up getting a remedy anyway. So it's like a win-win.
Well, and I can attest to that because there have been times I'm like, Janice, I have a question. Can you help me with this? And um, she gives me her wisdom, and she also gives me a little intuitive hit too. But it's more about helping me figure out the direction to go, which is beautiful. So,
Yeah, thank you. Thank
mhm.
you for saying that. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Diane.
Oh,
You know what I'm thinking? I'm worried about this connection. I'm not sure what's going on, and I hate to start a process that I won't
exactly.
be able to finish. So,
Okay.
if anyone wants a process to help them get back in their heart, this is really, like get into your body and refill your own wisdom and certainly relax your system so you can begin to hear. You could DM me and I'll just send you meditation I have. But, you know, I love that you're in this space if you're here because you're in good hands with Diane. And, I know that, like, again, you just have this, like, way of allowing people to w well, you're like a warm blanket, really, and sometimes that's what we need, you know? We just need this, like, "Okay, we're gonna be okay, and we're gonna be able to make it through." And also, like, your gifts around igniting power, remembering it. And that's
Mhm.
what we're meant to do here, right? However, you're so the last thing I wanna say to everyone is, if you're getting a hit, and this isn't really to sell anyone, but if you're getting a hit to work with anyone, move in that direction because that's how you create safety. That
Mhm.
you begin to trust yourself, and you have to bring that trust right now because the world is gonna tell you all of these reasons not to trust, and all you got is you. So back to
Mhm.
your intuition, back to people like Diane who are igniting your passion and your purpose and your wisdom. Like, move in that direction. Be around the people who help you stay
Mhm.
there and who help you realize yourself, your wisdom. So,
Janice, I can't thank you enough. I didn't expect you to say all of that, but thank you. And I mean, Janice is someone who you just gravitate to. You just want to be in her presence. You want to be with her. You want to learn everything that she has to offer. And so I would take her up on that option to connect with her and have a chat uh, because you just don't know what's going to come out of that.
it's so true.
So much love to you, and thank you for being here today. And I will say, if people are watching it on the replay and you have questions, pop them in the chat, and I'll make sure Janice gets them and she can answer them. Um, yeah, and so, like Janice said, there's a flame inside waiting to be ignited. So
Mm.
pay attention, trust.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.